Greetings my dears in love and light. I'm Nikki Sutton and this video is all about detachment. And it's quite an important one, by the way. Right, detachment, what's that? That's letting go of the outcomes of things. It's letting go of those things which we pin all our hopes and mental well-being and happiness on. Is there any way to be? Pinning our hopes on things external of us for our own mental well-being. We might want to control the outcome of something very much. We might be embarking on a project and we want to control the outcome to make sure it goes the right way. And if it goes wrong, we know we're going to feel really bad, that the whole world is going to fall down. And if it goes right, yes, everything is great. But is there any way to be? To put your mental well-being on something going a certain way, on achieving something, on acquiring something, on deciding a certain way? Is it any way to be to pin your mental well-being and happiness on anything external of you? This is J. Krishnamurti. He said, "I don't mind what happens. That is the essence of inner freedom. It is a timeless spiritual truth. Release attachment to outcomes deep inside yourself and you will feel good no matter what." Now, J. Krishnamurti knew what he was talking about when he said, "I don't mind what happens." Can you practice not minding what happens? Can you release the resistance to a potential negative outcome? Can you accept that a negative outcome, it does not mean the end of the world for you? Can you see it as a challenge rather than a big problem? This might seem counterintuitive, because if we accept that negative outcomes might occur and not let it affect us, does that mean we're manifesting negative outcomes? No, it means the opposite. By practicing detachment of the outcome, we are releasing that negative energy and fear that we are holding about the outcome of anything not going our way. So if we release that fear, we detach from the fear of any negative outcome. We release that fear, we release the resistance, we release that fear, it's gone, and then we're free like a blank slate to manifest anything we choose. You've probably watched some of my videos on the law of attraction or other people's videos on the law of attraction. If we can detach from potential negative outcomes that we're imagining, we're not imagining them anymore. We're not fearing them anymore. We're losing those low vibrational energies which will cause us to manifest negative outcomes. So when J. Krishnamurti said, "I don't mind what happens," it doesn't mean he doesn't care what happens. It's not indifference, which implies one doesn't care. It's equanimity. The definition of equanimity is a calm mental state, especially after a shock or a disappointment or in a difficult situation. So equanimity is that even if a difficult situation occurs, a shock or any negative circumstance or event occurs, we remain calm. It doesn't move us in a negative way, because we know that life is a journey of learning and experience, that these things, just like the pendulum swing on the hermetic principle of rhythm, these things can happen, but we can work through them and remain calm at the end of it. And you know what? They're less likely to happen if we practice detachment from outcomes and what we desire, and just put our trust in creation, that creation has our back. Do you also realize that creation has your back? By believing that it doesn't, well, then it won't. Because you're plugged into creation, creation knows what you know. Your thoughts and feelings and beliefs are mirrored in your reality. If you think that creation or everyone is out to get you, then they will be. If you believe that creation has your back and that people are generally loving and good, They will be. So by practicing detachment from outcomes of anything, we put our trust in creation, that creation has our back, and creation will manifest all the best for us, because we're not holding those fears and negative energies, that resistance to those potential negative outcomes that we're worrying about. So detachment doesn't mean that we're letting go of our dreams and our desires. It just means we're detaching from the outcome. It's like having a dream or a desire to set up a business and then it not working the first time. If we detach from that outcome, we're better able to get up and start again with motivation, rather than it completely knocking us for six and ruining our motivation and denting our confidence. We accept that there's the probability that something negative might happen, but detach from it so we're not feeding it with negative emotions and fears. Therefore, our business is more likely to be fruitful. It's more likely to succeed, because our happiness, our well-being, our mental well-being doesn't depend on the outcome. It's not going to destroy us. We can pick up and start again, knowing it was a learning curve, it was a challenge, and that creation actually has our back. There's a big control element when practicing detachment. We want to control the outcomes to make sure everything goes okay. But we think that's the right way to go about things, when really it's counterintuitive. We learn from past experiences that things can go wrong. And this causes us to want to control, because we don't want things to go wrong again. When we were younger, things went wrong sometimes, and we didn't practice detachment and we didn't manifest all the best. Things went wrong sometimes, and we expect that that's a possibility next time and the time after that. So it causes us to control the outcomes. But instead, if we detach from those outcomes, we release that fear, we release that worry, and that control, pinning everything down. That's a form of resistance. We release that, and like Jai Krishnamurti, he doesn't mind what happens. You're still going to be alive, have the air in your lungs, likely have a roof over your head, and be hearing creation with wondrous possibilities. So you can afford to practice detachment sometimes. So you might be thinking there's a bit of a paradox here still. Why would we want to detach from outcomes if we're trying to manifest something we want? But don't you see, if you're pinning your hopes and your happiness on an outcome, and when you're manifesting, having thoughts of, well, actually, if it doesn't happen, then it's going to be terrible, or has it worked yet? If you're having these feelings of pinning your happiness on an outcome, then you're generating negative energy. And we know that when we're manifesting, we only want positive vibrations. When you're performing manifestation, the law of attraction, we, for example, perform a daydream. Imagine some wonderful outcome and how wonderful it would feel, and then close the daydream down and put it to one side, and don't revisit it again and undo it and question if it's going to work. So this is detachment. We're detaching from that manifestation we've just done and putting our trust in creation that it's going to work. If you're trying to control the outcome and worrying about it and fearing the negative outcomes, it undoes your manifesting. So detachment creates a blank slate, a blank canvas for you to go ahead and daydream, imagine what you want to create, the abundance you want to create in your reality that you're entitled to. You've got a blank slate there to create whatever you want by detaching from the actual outcome, creating the outcome, not controlling the outcome. So some other words for detachment might be surrender, surrendering to what is, releasing resistance, as I said, and acceptance. So all of these words, as well as equanimity, help us to realise a certain state of mental calmness when addressing any situation. Another way to practice detachment is to know that your higher self knows what's best for you no matter what. Even if negative things happen in your life, even if negative circumstances and events or people do terrible things in your life to you, that your higher self knows what's best for you. It may feel unfair as a human in this lifetime, but really it's all good food for the soul. It's all learning and experience. It's all good catalyst for your own ascension or progression. Our consciousness is raising, and that involves learning all sorts of things, including the positive and the negative. And remember, you wouldn't appreciate the positive if you don't experience the negative, because you wouldn't know what positive is, because you've got nothing to compare it to. So in fact, we can appreciate the negative times, because it's helping us realise how wonderful it is when the positive ones come along. That helps us to detach from some outcomes and trusting that our higher self knows what's best for us, giving us all kinds of experiences, no matter what, for the overall benefit of our soul. And lastly, practicing detachment releases us from the negative thought patterns already manifesting our future. If we do have negative thought patterns, even ones that produce negative feeling from the subconscious mind, feelings that need to be healed from our past due to past traumas, detachment helps release us from those negative thought patterns. It's like a shortcut to easier manifesting, even if we aren't fully healed yet. So it releases us from those negative thought patterns that are already controlling our future. And over-controlling, being very attached to what you desire and very attached to the outcomes of anything, limits your manifesting, as I said. It limits you creating the abundance that you deserve. It limits the fact that you are an infinite, immortal being. If we could only realise that, that would help us detach from all kinds of imagined negative outcomes, because we know that we're immortal. We're infinite. So what does it matter? We're here to learn and experience, and it's all good catalyst. So I hope that's helped you today to practice a bit of detachment and let go of those things which you depend upon for your happiness. You might be trying to buy a house or get a certain apartment and pinning all your happiness on that. If there's a job we're going for and we're pinning all our hopes on getting this job, in fact, it would feel absolutely awful if we didn't get it, and it would be the end of the world. Look at what you're doing to yourself. You're holding yourself to something that if you don't achieve it, it's going to destroy you. Practice detachment from that outcome and realise it will be okay no matter what. And that if it doesn't go your way, that it's not going to destroy you. And by releasing that fear, you will manifest something better. So leave me and others a comment what you think about this notion of detachment and perhaps ways that you think it's best to practice it. Support this Spiritual Awakening YouTube channel on Patreon and receive weekly bonus videos. You can also choose to receive spiritual guidance via email or spiritual sessions. And remember to click subscribe if you're not already a subscriber to receive regular spiritual inspiration on your journey through life. Like and share also, because we're raising the mass vibration together. So go now in love and peace.